We're live!
All right, there we go.
Hi.
What's going on, everybody? Hello, Team Eurovoxx. It's nice to see you. It's been a little while for me, and I think it's been a while for Twan since we've been on
It
last.
has.
But Clara, I know that you were on not too long ago talking about the new ABBA album. Lovely to see you all again. Let's say hello to some people in the live chat. If you could, hello to Serdian. Nice to see you again. Hello to Francesca. Nice to see you as well.
And we also have Sarah O'Halloran.
Who could forget? DJ Parody.
And we have Klebs. I've seen his comment here.
Not surprised about Stig Rasta and Evelyn Samuel, but I'm so happy about Boamadou. We are once again having to practice the pronunciation of new names because Estonian doesn't come naturally to all of us. But, you know, we should begin with, this is the very first sort of song selection that we have. You know, of course, it wasn't a live show. We saw music videos that are being put out over the next 4 weeks. And in February, these are the songs that will be performed live. And one of them will be representing Estonia at Eurovision in 2022, which is 6 months away and feels like an eternity.
An eternity.
But nonetheless,
it feels so close for me, I think.
You think so?
Maybe it's because I'm having fun with my life and 6 months will go by really fast.
That makes sense. But let's go to you first, Clara, because Estonia was your home country for a short period of time. You have since moved on to Latvia. And I just want your general impressions of the songs that we saw this evening.
Well, you put it really well the other day on the WhatsApp group we have, and when you said that it's a lot of songs that can be summarized in couples fighting in slow motion. That was magnificent because that's like the general impression I got from all of these songs that came together in like the 10 songs of this quarter final.
Definitely. And I mean, you know, that's more relating to the music videos. I'm not sure how much that's true of the songs themselves. And you know, a number of them were in, you know, the Estonian language. One of the ones that qualified also had some Spanish in it, which I could definitely pick up. Twan, what are your general impressions of the songs that we saw tonight?
So once again, it's Estonia. So obviously I love most songs. There were just 2 songs that I wasn't a big fan of, which is a good score for Eesti Laul. I mostly love all the Eesti Laul songs, so I'm quite sad not all managed to make it through.
I'm curious though. I mean, it is very, very early. Literally, it can't be any earlier because we haven't had any other elimination rounds. But do we have a sense that one of these 5 songs that are moving on to the final round could be the winner? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah. Tell me,
I
which
would say Interstellar by Stig Rasta. I think for me, it's like it was the best song of the night, and clearly I could feel that this had Eurovision potential. I could visualize the staging. I could visualize a crowd vibing to it. And Stig is a very well-seasoned musician, performer. He's been to Eurovision. He knows how to work it all around. And I just loved this song. And actually, Victor Kron was involved in the writing. So Eurovision over Eurovision, perfect Eurovision.
They seem to be, obviously it wasn't just the 2 of them on that song, but they have worked together on Victor Kron's entry in 2019. I believe he was also one of the songwriters on Traffic's entry in 2020. So they're definitely, you know, partners that are working together, you know, on a regular basis. Twan, which songs do you think could be, obviously, you know, realizing that there are still another 30 that we haven't heard, which songs of these seems to be the strongest to you?
Well, my personal taste really differs from what I think, because my personal favorite was Waterfall. I do not think that's going to do very well, but it qualified, so that's a really good thing. I'm really happy about that. But as I said to Clara in the group chat earlier, I think that Jakub Tuisk is going to make it through the super final, whether it is winning or finishing 2nd or 3rd. I think he's going to do very, very well.
And another artist who we've seen before was one of the favorites back in 2020, made it to the super final in that year, you know, ended up losing to Uku, our man from 2020 and 2021. but was also part of Uku's performance last year. Rina K, yes, Yagut made it through. He was, I think, the last one that was called, and I believe that the last two were selected by the jury. Is that correct?
Yes,
yes,
that's correct.
So, I mean, I think that he definitely seems to be a contender. The song, it's definitely one of the more notable ones, I have to say. I kind of see it as this middle ground between Beautiful Lie, his 2020 song, and Yuri Putzman's song from Eesti Laul 2021, because it's got that, really high vocal that's a little bit processed, and it's got that modern percussion underneath. It's still like, I assume it's contextually a different song, but I see it as like a good blend between the two, and I could also, based on what we've seen so far, because obviously the live performances are going to change everything, but I could definitely see that as a contender along with Stig, because as you mentioned, Clara, Stig is such a notable face in the Estonian music scene, also a previous Eurovision participant in 2015. So definitely a possibility. And I have to say that his song was one of the more notable ones from what we've seen. But I'm curious about what you think about the other three. Tuan, you mentioned that Waterfall is your favorite based on your personal tastes. Tell me about what you like about that song.
I like that it's like really light, really free. It's like you're floating in the air, going through amazing things. I described it as a mix between The Voice from Ireland and Sandra Nurmsalu from Urban Trad, who's also been in Eesti Laul a couple of times. And it's also got some experimental sounds with the music instrument that I forgot the name of, the really weird...
The theremin.
That one.
Yeah.
It's got some experimental sounds, and it's just totally my kind of music. A bit of opera in there as well. I love it.
Serdian, I hope Tuan has managed to answer your comments.
I'm also trying to think of what is the most famous piece of music that uses a theremin, and I think it's probably the Doctor Who theme, but somebody might have a different idea of that. Do you guys know the Doctor Who theme?
No, I do not.
No? Okay. All right. Well, then maybe it's
we
not
need
that
to
well
be educated. No, but it's probably me, because I don't really watch that much TV or TV series. So
neither do I.
So there was another one that qualified, Boa Madu and Mete Kaukas. Look, we're starting this all over again, where we're from absolute zero. I think for me, it's absolute zero. Clara has a little bit of practice. I was calling this as one that you would enjoy, because I know that you're a fan of rock music. Was it one that you liked tonight?
Not necessarily. I really like rock music, but then there's like different kind of rocks, and this one really didn't vibe with me as I thought it would. But I appreciate that there's rock music regardless in the final, because I think it's what really is important in Eurovision and in all of the national finals, is to have a variety of genres. So I'm happy Boamada qualified.
And then the last one that we have is Mayan, her song Me Letu. So interesting story about her. She kind of explained that she is currently doing her Erasmus in Barcelona.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Yusuf seems to think that it's the best song by miles. So, I mean, as our resident Spaniard, I'm curious what you thought about her song, Clara.
For me, it was very interesting to see the video clip because it's like if you go to, I don't know, if you see a video of a very random place that's like your hometown in a way. I'm not from Barcelona, I'm from Valencia, but like all of the Spanish references from a foreign artist, it's still peculiar because it's like seeing your country through different eyes, but also that's familiar again. The song itself, I thought it was very charming and it has potential. And I don't know, I thought it can grow as the Eesti Laul progresses.
So, I mean, I also used to live in Barcelona, and I also found it very interesting to see like the kind of places that she was going to, because a lot of them are like the touristy places. You know, she was on La Rambla. I'm trying to remember. I think she was at La Boqueria, the market that's on La Rambla. Certain other notable spots, and then it also looked like she was kind of walking around the streets at night, like I used to do, and stumbling upon these, live music being played, or like a DJ playing in the corner, which was one of my favorite things about that city. So I have to say it was quite interesting for me to watch a video like that. And I think as far as the song goes, I thought it was one of the best. It's probably the one that I enjoyed the most. I have a few thoughts about it. The fact that it's kind of a mid-tempo, a modern mid-tempo song, and the mid-tempo songs, like if this were to go as far as Eurovision, we don't get a lot of them that like I don't know. It seems to be like a bit of a risk to take something like that to Eurovision. Not that that should be discouraged, because I'm always in favor of risks, but I think it just creates a lot of question marks as far as like how are they going to
stage it or market to what particular audience, these kind of questions.
Yeah, especially because it lands in the middle as far as tempo. It's hard to know. I think the biggest challenge is for the producers. Where is it going to go in the show that it would benefit the most? Because I don't know. There's something about not wanting to get the energy confused. I don't know. I need to think a little bit more about that. But the other thought that I have is that we've seen a lot of young Estonian artists on the Eesti Laul stage who have great songs, but then when it comes to their live performance, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. And my hope, obviously this is a different artist. She might have lots of experience. I hope that
she
that's
has
the case
been
for her.
in Eesti Laul before.
Oh, she has. What year was that?
I think in 2016 or 2015, one of those years. I think she was featured on an act, and I think it was pretty good. So I'm hopeful.
Okay, well that should be at least a sign of good things. Clara, tell me what are people saying in the comments, because I can't see from where I am.
They are saying such a fantastic quarterfinal from Eesti Laul. ATV means business. I love every single song tonight, from Lee Fern.
Nice to see you again, Lee Fern. What else we got?
We have Ray Bailey saying hello. And he also says that he hasn't watched any of the songs.
Well, I think they're on the broadcaster's website now. Is that right?
Yeah, they are.
Sarah O'Halloran says that Buamadu are just like 5 seconds of summer.
Really? I'm trying to remember. I thought 5 Seconds of Summer was like a boy band.
Yeah, it's like, but they play rock music.
Okay.
They were for some time endorsed by Green Day. So
I see.
And Klaus says that Evelyn Samuels has a huge fan base, or has a fan base in Estonia.
Yeah, that's true, because she qualified because of the televote, so she must have got quite a big fan base there.
And is she an artist that has participated in Eesti Laul as well?
Even in Eurovision in the 90s.
Oh, what year was that?
I think 97 or 98. I think she participated twice. Okay. I'm not completely sure of that.
I recall, I'm pretty sure 96 was when we had Evelina and another singer, but it wasn't the two of them, right?
No. I think it's 1999. Between 1997 and 1999. I'm not completely sure.
All right. Surian saying, I'm glad we had a lot of songs in Estonian, which gives me hope that we will have a song showcasing it in the end. A good point. And one of the things that we talked about coming out of this year's Eurovision was that we saw so many songs in other languages than English in the top 5. It was 4 out of 5 of the top 5, and then also taking up a few spots in the top 10 as well. Thank you, Klav. So it was in 1999 in Jerusalem, representing Estonia. But yeah, tell me about, Clara, your thoughts on the fact that we did see a lot of songs, including the ones that didn't qualify from this round, but a lot of them were in Estonian. What do you make of that?
I think that Måneskin has started a great trend, and this Eurovision year has been fantastic for non-English songs, because if we can remember, most songs of the top 10 were not in English. And I think that says a lot about the diversity. People are open to new languages. So I think it's fantastic that countries, minority or like smaller countries, may have this opportunity to showcase their language, which is beautiful.
And we should also note that half of the songs that will go through, of the 40 songs, so 20 songs will be in Estonian, and another 20 will be in another language, being English, Italian, French, whatever. So
the songs that will qualify. So are you saying that they've?
No, the songs in these 40.
Oh, okay, so yeah, the ones that they've selected. So they've made it that they've kind of come up with a quota for how many songs they wanted in
it was in the
Estonian?
rules before they were selected that 20 would be in Estonian and the other 20 in another language.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, and it's great to see this interest in putting language at the forefront. Of course, I think that sometimes, because my impression based on the general, the consensus among Eurofans is that they tend to prefer entries that are in other languages. But at times, I think that it's not always with the quality of music in mind. And I know that like in other countries, like this year in Portugal, there was a lot of controversy over the fact that one of the favorites was a song in English, and Portugal up until this year had not sent a song in English, and certain people use that as like a means of, oh, we're selling ourselves out by not singing in our own language. But Fawn, do you think that if they were to choose something in Estonian, do you think that because we don't tend to see much Estonian from Estonia, at least in the recent years, do you think that might give them a reason to stand out?
I'm a massive fan of Estonian language itself, so I really hope so. And the Estonian language is beautiful. And the last time Estonia sang in Estonian was 2013, I think. Yes, it was 2013. And that was a really beautiful song as well. And I think it can really stand out.
Well, it seems like...
Especially if Finland doesn't send a song in Finnish, because Finnish really resembles Estonian. So if Finland doesn't send a song in Finnish, it will really stand out.
Fair enough. I think that both of them could probably forever omniscient, says Yusuf. I think that like if both of them were to send songs in their own language, it would be. I don't think that one would necessarily cancel out the other, but I take what you're saying in the sense that there are similarities. I believe that they are from the same language family. Is that correct?
Yes, they are. There's some similarities. Some words are actually, they have the same word, but with a different meaning. For example, mountain means like Maggie means a mountain in Estonia, but in Finnish means something different.
So yeah, I mean, if they were to both do that, then I think they would certainly be putting themselves in a spot to be unique. But yeah, and as we've talked about, we see some contenders this time around. I have to say personally, I'm hoping that we see an even stronger standout, because while I think that these songs are good, I think that Estonian artists have shown us that they're a bit better, or that they can do it a little bit better. But that's just me. I'm not writing off any of these whatsoever. But my guess is that we haven't quite seen the winner yet. And obviously, there's another 30 songs to go.
You know who I'm hoping? I'm hoping that Vanilla Ninja have actually submitted a song.
I was actually thinking about that the other day because I saw a post on their Instagram and I was like, what if they
I submitted like recording. I would die.
Lee Fern is saying, I have a strange feeling that Estonia will qualify and come top 10 in the final in May. I just have a feeling that all the Baltic countries will do well in 2022. And of course, UK will be bottom 5 again.
It's okay.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves about the UK. Let's kind of focus it on Estonia. But you mentioned the Baltics, and I'm thinking to this year, we had Uku representing Estonia. We had Samantha Tina representing Latvia, and then we had the Rup representing Lithuania. Obviously, the Rup were the exception. They did very well. The other two, not so much. Do you guys think that this could be, I mean, I don't know what you'd be basing it off of, but do you guys have that feeling that this could be a turnaround for the Baltics this time?
Well, I have to say that Eesti Laul so far seems really strong, and the fact that they have made this new format with 40 songs gives me really big hopes for them. So let's wait and see. Let's hope.
And Clara, what do you think?
Well, I think Estonia is trying to make some changes. I'm still hoping for Vanilla Ninja. If Vanilla Ninja goes for Estonia, then definitely they will qualify. Unless they do like something terrible and out of brand. But other than that, I am very hopeful. And I'm very curious to see what Latvia and Lithuania have going on that haven't published yet or announced yet.
I mean, obviously, it'll be a little while before we start hearing some of those songs. I know that Supernova is often one of the first that happens, but it's a new year. They might change their schedule. They might not even. I don't know if they've officially announced that Supernova is going to happen for 2022.
I think they have announced, and actually, Latvian TV or Supernova have made a like Instagram story question, like who would you want to see representing our country? And many people called out Carnival Youth, which is like a quite famous Latvian band, who are the children of Brainstorm. Like the main singer, the lead singer, he has some children that now are like young adults, and now they have this super popular band in Latvia called Carnival Youth.
And I also think
interesting.
And I also think Samantha Tina and Marcus Riva were there, and I would love to see Samantha Tina back, even though I don't think she will be back.
I don't think she would go back. Like she's gone through a lot of public humiliation after this.
So Serdian is asking us, did you like Traffic? He was surprised that they failed to qualify. What did you think, Tvan?
I really liked Traffic. It took me a while to get into the song, because at first I didn't really think it went anywhere, to say. But now I really liked it. I was surprised that they didn't qualify, but given that it was such a strong quarterfinal, I do understand why they didn't qualify.
Just a quick thing. We don't know if they have submitted the song. Vanilla Ninja has submitted the song yet. This is just speculation and my personal wish. But back to Traffic.
And it's also the fact that they've reunited recently, right?
And they haven't, and they released a new album.
Okay, but we don't really have anything else to go off of. But anyway, Clara, your thoughts on Traffic from tonight?
I thought the song was not the strongest I've heard from the band. I thought it was very slow. Like the slow part lasted too long, and I had already written it off. But then the beat came in towards the mid-end, and I thought maybe this is enough to lift the whole song and the whole mood, and is enough to save the song. But and the joke with Uku Suviste, it was hilarious. Like that was a fantastic note. But I think that is what would have saved the song. But unless you watch the video or you actually have Uku Suviste walking in the stage, and that still would be a very narrow inside joke that very few people would understand. So I don't think they could have capitalized on that.
So I think I remember when I was watching that video for the first time yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And the way that they've got it set up, like you can tell that it's supposed to be a story about two people that were once together and they're doing things in separate places. And obviously they're making it look like they're going to reunite at the end, but you also know that there's probably going to be a twist. So I was definitely anticipating a twist. Not necessarily that one. I wasn't expecting to see our man Uku pop through the door on one side.
We've missed him.
But I think you raised a few important things, and I'm curious about how long they've had this plan in the works, where it would be the music videos competing, because it is a television program. I'm curious if the artists knew that their videos were going to be part of how they would compete, because I think that sometimes if you don't have in a contest like this, if you haven't thought about grabbing the viewer that well, then you might not be thinking about it. Like you might not place as much importance on it as you would had you known that. And I think about what was it wasn't Rachel and Me. What was the name of the guy with the surfboard?
Fiona and Me.
Fiona and Me, because he had made like a lyric video. It was it was a decent song, kind of indie rock with a kind of tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. But it was more or less a music video that had, I think, stock footage and Comic Sans. Unironic use of Comic Sans.
I know it was ironic, but I'm a designer, and this is something I just can't. Even like the fact that there's Comic Sans on Instagram stories, like that's an optional font. I just can't. I'm sorry. It just wants to make me give up on this world.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that when some people embrace the irony of it kind of takes off, right? Because I think a lot of that meme, the graphic design is my passion, and it's written in Comic Sans, and it has all like the clip art and stuff. But yeah, probably not the best idea for a competitive show where your music video is at the center of it all. But sorry, you were going to say something.
Thank you. No, it was about this graphic designer thing. So it's okay. We can move past it.
Twan, did you have something to say about Comic Sans or something else?
Well, it surprised me that the Fiona and Me person wanted to say anonymous because they had a really famous Estonian host, Tony Nimitz, fill in for them. So that was really weird. It made me think of, in the instance that they qualified to the semifinals, which I didn't think they would anyways, but how would they stay anonymous? Because that's not really possible, is it? But
well, they could wear a mask, like, you know, Jost from Norway.
The Masked Singer meets Eurovision?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been done before. Like, I mean, certain people, they haven't necessarily remained anonymous, but you know, artists in the electronic music industry, a lot of them have full-on headgear, Deadmau5, the, you know, now defunct Daft Punk, Marshmello, and I mean, I think some people who have had that concept have used it as a means of anonymity, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, you know, you could probably protect your identity up to a point.
And Sia, for example, she wore this wig up to here.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about Sia is that was only when she became really, really big, because when she was more of like a local Australian artist, and you know, not completely local, she was known in the indie scene, but like she showed her face. We all knew what she looked like then, and then, you know, she didn't want to be subject of media scrutiny, so she started to wear the big wigs and stuff. But anyway, anything else we should talk about before you wrap it up?
I think that one of the reasons they ask for the video clip is to like get some sort of idea or a feeling how the song could be staged and what the artist has in mind and what the artist is willing to do and how invested the artist is, because, you know, like spending like a music video is kind of expensive, or there's a lot of involvement that has to be put in it. And if you're really prepared to represent your country, you should really like showcase it or portray it in a way that the TV station will say, okay, we can take this artist to Eurovision. This artist means business.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think a lot about our guy Jakub, because he definitely had one of the, I would say, more expensive looking videos. Obviously, that's just you know, appearances. It doesn't necessarily mean he spent the most money, but it was quite refined. And one thing that interests me about him is the fact that he is this artist who has worked on both the musical side and visual side of presentations, having done the staging for Uku last year, or at least been a part of it, because we know Marvin Dietman and Dan Shipton had been part of the Eurovision presentation of that. So, I mean, you know, I think that having someone like that, where you have a bit of a sense of both sides of the coin, can really mean promising things. And I know that certainly that's going to be one of the songs that I have my eye on for good staging. Nicola, nice to see you. Speaking of anonymous, Circus Mercus want to remain undercover as well. We'll see. We'll see. So Circus Mercus, if anybody hasn't heard, they've been recently announced to represent Georgia this year. They've released some very unusual material, but I am definitely intrigued, as I usually am about Georgia.
We have a question about Albania.
So
what are we expecting? Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead and read it. I'm talking too much.
What are you expecting from Festivali Këngës next month? The winners are always fan favorites, but never do well in the contest apart from 2012. They qualify and they stay on a decent position. I wouldn't call that a bad result.
It's one of the selections I look forward to the most. They've always got really, you know, really talented singers, and usually, you know, they've got composers behind their songs, which makes a huge difference. I'm looking forward to it, but as far as expectations, I just, you know, I take it as it comes and see how it goes. Twan, what do you think?
I always love Festivali Këngës, and especially last year, I think the production level in general, like the entire production level, went up so much. Like they had a proper opening act and a proper stage, and everything was perfect. And I think they will even up it more this year, and I'm really excited to see what they have got in store.
The two things I'm hoping on, I believe that this year they should be able to do it indoors, which is really better for the singers. And I'm also hoping that we get the orchestra back because, you know, we don't have that many selections that still use orchestras. And that's definitely one where the songs really feel elevated when we get to see them live.
That's a good word, elevated.
Thank you. Anything else we should talk about, or should we wrap it up?
I think we should wrap it up because I think we've covered mostly everything.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We plan to be doing these more often. We have another 3 weeks of Estonia selection. Of course, there are lots of things coming up. We'll have the Czech selection in mid-December. There's Junior Eurovision just before Christmas. Festivali Congress happens just after Christmas. We're going to get announcements at some point about other things going on. And when songs come out, we'll be bringing you our thoughts. And we'd love to know what your thoughts are as well. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Eurovoxx because we talk about Eurovision all year. And as you can see, things have started earlier than we expect. So we'd love to have you in on the discussion. But anyway, I think that's all. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. And until then, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.